Alright y'all, welcome back to Combat Arms channel. Okay, so today we're checking out a video about some Ukrainian special forces. I guess it was kind of like a joint effort, but some Ukrainian forces taking out the Crimean bridge. Now this sounds like a pretty intense operation. I didn't even know that this had happened. I think I saw some clips or some pictures or something maybe like a while ago. But this is actually covering the guys who actually took part in that and kind of the planning it took to be able to do that kind of operation, which is kind of a big deal. So the Crimean bridge, I kind of looked it up on Google Maps, basically joins the Crimean Peninsula and like southern Russia. So obviously pretty crucial bridge when you're talking about it's Russia pushing supplies to the Crimean Peninsula. So yeah, definitely a pretty bold attack. But it seems like it paid off as far as all the planning and all the efforts. Now, before we get into the video, I want to talk about Wartrace Workshop. So they make some very, very fantastic art for a very cool cause. So you can see here, this is a damaged casing that they've kind of turned into art. It's such a cool concept. And I have their other shell in the background. You can kind of see it over here. So yeah, it's just such a cool concept, such a cool idea. And it's dope because they make this art and they use it to support the Ukrainian forces. So I'll put a link to their Instagram page down in the video description. Definitely go and check them out. Definitely go and support them. Just very, very cool people making some very, very fantastic art. So again, Wartrace Workshop, I appreciate what you're doing. I appreciate y'all sending this so I can kind of give a shout out to y'all because you're doing some great stuff.
That's a legitimate goal for us. Russia has spent more than $1 billion to protect the Crimean bridge. Echelon surveillance, anti-sabotage units on duty 24/7. Helicopters, ships, and an electronic detection station. It's the most heavily guarded military facility in the world.
$1 billion.
Russian propaganda is based on symbols. The Crimean bridge is a symbol of power, authority, and strength of Putin's state. This is a real slap in the face to Putler and Russia. This operation changed the world's concept of naval operations. This is a new paragraph and a new stage in the history of naval battles. We actually turned the philosophy and the approach.
That is a massive bridge. Jeez, I mean, looking at it on Google,
with what did the AFU
looks
manage
pretty
to
long.
hit the Kerch Bridge, or as it's also called, the Crimean Bridge? Ukrainian Special Forces have revealed some details of this extraordinary special operation, which we will find out in this episode.
Dude, holy cow, that's a big
The start of the
explosion.
construction of the Crimean overpass marked the realization that Russia was preparing for a major war. As soon as they started building it, we realized that in the event of a full-scale war, it would be the main logistics artery for the enemy.
Yeah, no doubt. Damn, it's got train tracks
That is
too?
exactly what happened. And the enemy troops in the south of Ukraine are being fed by the Kerch Bridge. They receive weapons and munitions through this logistics route.
Dude,
The Crimean
that's
Bridge
so much
itself
stuff.
is a guarantee for Russia, so that they could do this at any time and very quickly.
Damn, okay. And again, it's just kind of crazy to see like this much kind of coverage or video of all the supplies kind of going across. I mean, this is a pretty major troop movement, but you just have like random civilians, I would guess, or maybe just some other military guys that are just recording this and then posting it online, which, I mean, it's kind of cool in hindsight, for, you know, for videos like this, for documenting. That's a lot, jeez.
This logistics chain was very important for the enemy.
So again, I'm not exactly sure how accurate the estimate is when they're saying they, you know, spent $1 billion to defend the bridge, but it makes a lot of sense seeing how much stuff they're just pushing through it, you know, to kind of reinforce those southern forces. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense how much of a strategic value this thing actually has. But again, it's bold. I'm really curious to see how they actually planned an attack on this. It's very symbolic, really.
By destroying this bridge, this overpass, we would deprive Russia of the freedom to move heavy weapons, heavy equipment, tanks to Crimea, as well as to provide fuel and ammunition to the Russian Black Sea Fleet, which is stationed in our Sevastopol. That's a legitimate goal for us, in accordance with the Geneva Convention and other international law, the current legislation of Ukraine, and the customs of war. This is a completely legitimate goal. It is, in fact, an illegal construction on the territory of Ukraine. President Zelensky personally ordered the destruction of this overpass.
Nice. Damn, so when did they build it?
We first hit it on October 8th. It happened the day after the 7th anniversary of the bunker grandfather.
That explosion was massive.
I think he had a very bad headache that morning, and we gave him the right gift.
Yeah, no kidding.
We used improvised explosive devices, which is a hexagon mixture, and the amount was almost 15 tons. In TNT equivalent, this is almost 21 tons. You saw all the consequences of that explosion.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
They tried to restore it for more than 8 months, but they still did not fully restore it. And for the second time, we hit the bridge on July 17 this year. This time with the help of Sea Baby drones. And this time we did not enter from land, but of course from the sea.
I mean, yeah, that makes a little bit more sense, especially if it was like some sort of submersible. But I don't know what they transported that first explosion on. Maybe like a boat. It looked like it was kind of low, but jeez Louise, like that's, again, like you saw cars and stuff still like moving across it and whatnot. So I don't know what kind of like security they had. Again, they said they spent a lot of money, but I mean, it didn't stop that.
We had to collect all the intelligence data, all the information about what this bridge is made of and what its structural elements are, in order to understand what kind of weapon we can use to destroy it.
Oh, damn. Did their homework.
The head of security service gave me this beautiful book. I can only guess where he got it. It is working documentation for the construction of a transport crossing through the Kerch Strait.
Nice. That's some
the
good
design
intel.
Documentation for a tank, a missile, an airplane. It is secret in itself. Not to mention such a strategic object as the Crimean Bridge.
Damn, how'd they get that?
Here we found everything we needed. We need to understand how we could destroy this Kerch Bridge.
Dude, that guy should have gotten like a medal or something for that.
We understood the general information about the bridge. But it's one thing to see it on drawings, and another thing to see it in reality. In preparation for the operation, most of the information used for reconnaissance was obtained from open sources.
Really? Damn. So not even like ISR or drones or something?
One of the sources of this information was a video recording of a Russian woman who was vacationing near the Crimean Bridge on a yacht and filmed the internal structures of the bridge's arch.
Oh my god. Oh, snap. Nice, dude. Open source.
An idea of where to attack the bridge in order to cause maximum damage.
Thank her for her service, I guess. It's like terrible camera work, but for what they're doing, it's great.
Every Russian with a smartphone is our best friend, comrade, and client. We can observe many objects inside Russia, in the occupied territories, and so on. Let them film, record, photograph, and post more.
Yep. Forgot the saying. It's like, don't interrupt your enemy when they're making a mistake. I forgot who said that, but yeah, it's a pretty common one. It's a good one.
The Crimean Bridge was built in a strait with a very large layer of silt. In order to gain a foothold in this silt, the Russians used 15 to 30 different piles under each pillar, which are stuck in the mud like a broom.
Damn, I wonder how much the bridge costs in general.
And on top of this broom is a concrete bull, and above it is a pillar on which the overpass is actually located. It would probably be very difficult to destroy this pillar, because it is very thick.
That's actually really impressive.
Had a brilliant idea that we should try to break these piles that are under the lower gantry at the water level so that they would break. And then this support, in principle, will pull the bridge down even more.
Yeah, I mean, you don't need to like
From a technical point of view, it was a very difficult task, but one that we had to accomplish.
If you crack it or it sinks,
we don't have such long-range missiles.
Good enough.
We don't have such huge torpedoes. And we have bombs, but the enemy would not let us fly our planes there.
I'd imagine a lot of their defenses were more of like anti-air defenses, and it makes a lot of sense. Of course, if you don't have that air superiority, it cuts off a lot of options, especially when you're talking about actually sending units, because now they won't have that air support. And if you don't have that, then it's pretty much a suicide mission. So they're almost exclusive to waterborne stuff, which is kind of crazy how they were able to be so successful still without, somehow that being picked up.
After consulting with the head of the security service and the Navy commander, we came to the conclusion that we need to build a new marine drone that will be able to deliver 800 kilograms of TNT to the pylons on the Crimean bridge, to travel at least 800 kilometers by sea with an excitement of up to 4 points.
Damn.
The speed of such a drone should be that at the final stage it could break away from the pursuing ships, if any, or maneuver when we were attacked by helicopters.
This thing looks fucking advanced.
This drone had to have continuous guaranteed communication with the operator.
Dude.
So we had to find such very complex engineering solutions as soon as possible.
I wonder how much that cost.
The security service of Ukraine has united the best specialists from many fields, including engineers, programmers, and sailors, who are still working on the production and further successful use of new naval drones.
No kidding. Dang.
The prototype for the Sea Baby military maritime surface drone was the Cossack boat Chaka.
Oh, hell yes.
It was quite small in size compared to enemy ships, and due to this, it successfully maneuvered between them and was used back in those days to successfully perform naval combat missions.
Huh. That's
By the
cool.
way,
A little bit of
if you look
history.
at the marine surface drone, when it goes gliding, that is, it moves quickly on the surface of the water mirror. It looks very similar to the Cossack boat, Chaika, and at that very moment, our glorious ancestors constantly inspire us, and we still feel this genetic connection.
That's cool. That's cool callback.
Loaded it with 1.5 tons of sandbags. Then the main task was to understand whether this prototype works and how it works. We hit the ice with this boat. We cut these pieces of ice at speed.
Damn. Sea Baby.
It is absolutely not afraid of any impacts, any cracks. It's easy to repair and transforms to perform any task.
Seems smaller than I thought.
The key to implementing this special operation is the communication signal.
Yeah, true that.
We were able to involve volunteers in our team to help us set up the best communication in the world for our Sea Babies,
I can't get over that name.
because we could not rely on Elon Musk products.
Okay.
We were in constant
I mean, the
contact with
Starlink
our
helps,
Western
right?
partners. When they looked at the electronic stuffing that makes up our boats, they were simply amazed. They tell us that they're learning from us, and these are our top colleagues from the Western world.
Yeah, I mean, no doubt. I mean, this is a pretty massive drone when you're talking about like naval drones. So there's probably not been that much development, especially there's probably not as much utility for such like a big drone. It's kind of a big target, but of course for them, they're trying to load it with a bunch of explosives. So they needed something else a little bit bigger. But it is kind of cool to understand the utility of something that is this kind of size. It gets people rethinking, maybe we should have something like this developed in case we need to use it for, a similar kind of purpose.
If you look inside the drones, you'll see inscriptions of our military. We will take revenge for every destroyed home, for every killed family, for every unfulfilled dream, for every tear of our parents, our wives, our children, for every dead Ukrainian.
That's badass, dude.
An operator flying an aerial drone is different from an operator flying a marine drone. To do this, you need to have certain abilities and feel how the elements affect your vehicle. And of course, only those people who've been doing this all their lives can provide this specificity. It took 4 months to train a surface drone pilot from scratch. It is quite a challenge to learn maritime business without the appropriate professional training. Our guys have been trained to detect, recognize, and identify all Russian vessels in the Black Sea.
No
We
kidding.
studied each ship in detail, its armament, design, and weaknesses. We had to be able
Okay.
to recognize any type of enemy ship by its silhouettes. Together with the military and sailors, we created the headquarters of this operation. There
Damn.
was a huge number of monitors displaying all the information that was available in the Black Sea at the time.
I mean, I didn't kind of thinking about what they're using the silhouette for and just being able to kind of recognize each ship. I imagine they're kind of understanding who's operating in the Black Sea, understanding their munitions, their capabilities, and just providing like maybe some general countermeasures for most of that armament, if possible, onto their drones, just in case they do see something, they can identify it, and then again, just be ready to employ certain countermeasures. But there's probably a lot of other stuff that I'm not even considering. So again, if you guys are thinking about how this could actually impact the success of this operation, definitely let me know.
We monitor the weather, waves, currents, the movement of civilian and military ships, Russian aviation, and all the factors that could affect our success. 5 naval surface drones took part in the operation to destroy the Crimean bridge. They moved in 2 groups. It is advisable to send 2 boats forward to conduct reconnaissance. And in case of detection or encounter with someone, they warn the main group to make a maneuver.
Damn it. So 5.
We were
Damn it.
supposed
You
to
made 5
arrive
of
at the
them?
Crimean bridge around 2 a.m. Why? Because the night is very short in July. At 3:30 a.m. Kyiv time, it was already dawn. And our boats could have been detected along the dozens or even hundreds of civilian judges swarming the Kerch Strait.
Okay. Yeah, makes
So we had
sense.
to get there at night. From Kiev, we controlled these drones that were 700, 900, 1,000 kilometers away.
That's so cool. Was that like the real footage with the screen there? If so, that's like insane
On a flight
clarity.
tracking tablet that monitors Russian aircraft, we saw a Russian Su-27 fighter jet heading in our direction. It was a
Dude.
tense moment. We realized that they were looking for us. Russian military planes, helicopters, and their ships. They're not sitting idle either, but are constantly monitoring the sea and looking for our surface drones. We decided to change the route dramatically and headed south. It was necessary to make a hook of more than 70 kilometers of additional travel. We
Yeah,
could not
sounds
reach
like
the point by 2 a.m., so we
It
had
paid
to
off, at
increase our
least.
cruising speed.
How much fuel did it have then? I mean, if they
Our
could do
drones
maneuvers.
began to cover the remaining distance to the Crimean bridge in an accelerated mode. Then we received information that the Russian frigate Admiral Essen was approximately on our route.
I mean, it
Is that a Russian ship?
should be able to
Yes,
like
it's
outrun
their
it.
boat, right on the course.
Oh, dude.
This is one of the 2 ships that can claim to be the flagship of the Black Sea Fleet after the cruiser Moscow.
Dude.
This is one of the ships carrying the caliber missiles that have been striking throughout Ukraine,
Imagine blowing that thing up.
which has caused
too.
many deaths of our civilians. Of course, we want to destroy it.
Oh, wait, what? Did they?
Sinking the frigate, the flagship of the Black Sea Fleet, is like sinking Moscow. It's just the second episode. To be honest, this is a very, very high priority target for us. And at some point, the team began to hesitate, like, here it is in the crosshairs. Let's maybe strike at Essen. But I forbade them to
dude.
do so.
Damn, that had to be like such a crazy call. I mean, just seeing this thing literally in the crosshairs, that's like a lot of reservation right there.
The team began to hesitate, like, here it is in the crosshairs. Let's maybe strike at Essen. But I forbade them to do so, because we had a clear task from the Supreme Commander-in-Chief. We had to strike at the Kerch Bridge and cut off the enemy's logistics. And we will definitely return to the Admiral Essen a little later. Left? Yes, go left. We've passed him.
Dude,
It's okay,
that's
I'm moving 2
crazy.
meters per second. That's it, he passed us. Both Hunter and the Admiral at some point, at some stage, were even upset, and so was I.
Understandable.
But
Damn.
then we realized that this was only the right decision after all.
I wonder if it even
By the
like
time the
saw
first
them.
2 drones
It had
reached
to,
Yalta,
right?
they were about 70 to 80 kilometers ahead of the other 3.
Oh,
Given
damn,
that
that's,
3 drones had to move at a higher speed than planned to catch up, they also had higher fuel consumption.
that's a big
Therefore,
gap.
the
Holy
lagging
cow.
drones would most likely not have reached the target. They would have run out of fuel. Each boat carried 900 kilograms of TNT. If you have such a charge and some of the drones run out of fuel, you don't want them to just drown. And there is an Essen nearby. It was decided that the first 2 boats, which were already close to the Kerch Strait, would go on to the bridge, and the 3 boats that were behind would search, detect, pursue, and possibly destroy the enemy frigate.
Huh, no kidding. Okay.
The drones were moving at maximum speed, up to 80 kilometers per hour, for about an hour. Luckily for the crew of the Essen, for the temporary happiness of its crew, their ship went to Wartrace. So even theoretically, our 3 sea babies could not catch up with it. They were completely out of fuel.
No shit.
We remotely detonated them a short distance from the shore near Yalta, Partonen, and Gursov, so that
Imagine
our
being on the
maritime
shore.
drones would not fall into Russian hands.
Yeah, it's a good call. Damn, that sucks though.
For the
3
2
of them.
drones that were ahead, we chose the most optimal power-saving mode so they could continue on to the Crimean bridge.
Damn, so that was just 2 of them. They should have put like 3 in the front or something.
Near the Kerch Strait, the Russians set up several sumps for ships where they checked them. They only let ships into the Kerch Strait that they trusted, either with their own ships or with registration of countries with which Russia had good relations. The difficulty was that because dozens of ships were gathered in one place, each with large searchlights, it was like you were approaching a city.
Oh
So
snap.
it was visible in the middle of the night as if it were daytime.
And they're just
We had to
using
make our way
thermals?
past these civilian ships. We came across one tanker that was moving slowly like a turtle. And now our drone operators, who had not slept for 20 hours before and were driving the
Jeez.
boats, had to stop in order to let the tanker pass in front of them. And now we're standing still, swaying on the wave, where a current and the wind has risen, and their tugs are scurrying around us.
Dude,
We
the
realized that the
adrenaline.
tugs could be hiding Russian warships that could attack us with machine guns. Will we have time to maneuver? What should we do? Make a 12-degree right turn. Completed. We calmed down, concentrated, let all the enemy equipment go forward, and quietly moved on.
That's
Where do
so
I
cool
go?
how they recorded it.
To the left. Move to the left. That's it. Go to the pole? Yes, you have to hit it.
Just watching that for 20 hours.
First of all, the railroad bridge was a priority for us. That's why we first boat went to ram the railroad bridge piers. Take your time. Slow down.
Identifying it under the thermals too must have been such a pain in the ass. Just like right at that last second, making sure you're going after the right like pylons or whatever, the right supports.
Go at an angle. That's it. Move
dude.
towards it.
The height.
We had a
man.
connection delay of 1.5 to 2 seconds. Align with it and keep it that way.
Oh shit.
Then the delay will be canceled out by a straight course. Don't change anything. And now to the left. And my board went between all the supports. It was the wrong bull.
Oh my
Small
gosh.
annoyance, but the fight goes on. In such situations, you need to instantly adjust to everything possible to achieve a result. The operator was instructed to turn around and attack the road side of the Crimean bridge. Yes, yes. Come on, come on. That's right. Keep moving. That's the right course. In 5 to 7 minutes, we were already at the pillar.
Dude, that's pretty good clarity for how far that thing is, man. And seeing some other footage like that is so cool. Dude, that's awesome. That's
It
so
was a
hyped.
beautiful fireworks display. Almost like when the Crimean
Golly.
bridge was open. It all exploded in the same way. In
That's
fact,
sick.
it was the first time in the history of naval battles that such an object was hit by such means.
It's like when you see like the NASA control rooms when they're like landing this like DART mission, or they're like landing a rover or something on the moon. It's like that kind of hype.
It was just wow. It is beyond words. The fifth boat is headed for the railroad bridge. All attention shifted to another drone that was already approaching the attack area. We didn't fully understand how the Russians reacted to this, because after the first explosion, we saw that the affected part of the bridge was completely de-energized. It became dark.
Oh, snap.
No
Okay.
movements of these devils is visible. We didn't see the reactions of the Russians, where their security boats were, where their helicopters were. Come on,
Dude.
to the left. More
They're
to the left.
freaking out.
Go to that bull right there. A train. A train.
Oh, dude, even better.
And here from the side of the Crimean, a train is coming across the railroad bridge. The first thought, even the first instruction to the cameraman, was catch up with the locomotive and hit the support under it so this train would also catch fire. Come on, to the left, but don't be nervous. But very quickly, another thought came to mind. If this train is coming from Crimea, there is definitely no gasoline in its barrels, and there is no point of catching up with it. We need to fulfill the mission and stick to the original plan.
Good call.
Move closer. Now move to the left. More left. That's it. Perfect. Right there. Hunter, it's okay. He's got it. Good boy. That's it. A little more to the right.
Dude, the hype. I
Yeah,
love
that's
this.
good.
It's so cool that they recorded all of it. That's insane. Oh my gosh, look at that.
Yes!
At that point, no one could contain their emotions any longer because the mission was definitely complete.
Nice, dude. I wonder how many people there are in there. Oh, they're just blurred. Just the whole thing is a blur.
Это очередной террористический акт киевского режима.
Глава СБУ Малюк
Oh
назвал
my
теракт
gosh, seeing the
одной из
headlines
реализаций
too
его
after
спецслужбы.
that.
Ukrainian security agents handed us the inspection reports of the Russian engineering team on the damage we had caused at the Crimean bridge.
No kidding. They had access to that?
The Russian wrote a closed report, which we received 12 hours after it was written. 6 of the 8 piers within the strike radius were destroyed. The remaining 2 were damaged.
Nice, dude.
Ребята, мост закрыт.
Oh my gosh.
Now the bridge is
Damn,
not
dude.
fully functional. Road transport moves in reverse. Each car must be no more than 5 tons. And the railroad connection is used only for electric trains with no more than 5 cars. That is, of the ammunition and everything else
No
is
more
now
than
transported
5?
by ferries. Russian troops in the Zaporizhzhia and
Nice,
Kherson
dude.
regions are now receiving significantly less ammunition from Crimea. They told the whole world that this was the most protected bridge and so on. By successfully engaging and destroying it,
Damn, that's impressive,
we
dude.
essentially destroyed the myth of Russians' invincibility. This is a country of fakes.
That is a big win. Holy cow.
Ukraine, which does not have sufficient forces or naval means, can fight enemy ships, can close them in bays, and can hit their bridges. Leaders of powerful countries with navies have begun to reconsider their concepts as such. But the Russians are now flooding barges there, placing firing points near the bridge and putting up booby traps. But the Russians do not understand one thing. The security service of Ukraine never repeats itself. Never. There will be many surprises ahead.
Gonna
and
get
not
more
only
creative.
in relation to the Crimean bridge. This bridge is doomed. No Putin's bridge has any place on the legitimate territory of Ukraine's motherland.
Damn, well
If
said.
you were interested by today's episode and would like me to continue doing
Damn, solid video. Again, like the interviews are just fantastic. Seeing the footage is awesome. Getting like all the different perspectives as far as like whatever I don't even know what kind of camera they had set up to be able to see the detonation itself. But having all this stuff kind of aggregated in one video, and especially going over all the planning, kind of why they were doing certain things. And even like, I think one of the coolest part is just the last minute decisions, because, you know, that's when everything is the most tense and they're, starting to deviate potentially, but they're like, no, let's just make sure we stick with the plan. It's just kind of cool to hear about how they're, you know, kind of going back and forth on all of that. So like in general, it's always cool to see the successes of the Ukrainian armed forces. But again, something like this in depth, but also the fact that it's kind of like this Navy kind of mission, but also they developed these kamikaze drones, these maritime drones just for this. And now everybody's kind of looking at the success that they had, and also just kind of, you know, taking everything else, the failures, things to consider as far as like the fuel, and also just the formations of the drones themselves. Yeah, it's just super cool. I wonder like what the benefit would be with having like maybe a bunch of smaller drones as opposed to kind of what they did here, where they just had 5 bigger drones. So a lot of things. These are things that people are going to be studying and just developing more and more technology and tactics just based off of this. So they're like kind of writing history and writing doctrine in a sense, doing stuff like this. But super cool. Let me know what you guys think about these kinds of videos. It's always cool getting like just the background of them like doing the planning, but seeing like the staff room, and even though everybody's kind of like blurred out and stuff, it's still cool to see all the interaction, the conversations, and just like the actual views of the screens itself. Just very, very cool. So very solid recommendation. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. I got pretty freaking hyped watching this, but I will put the original video in the description. But yeah, Resonance YouTube channel, pretty low key, but pretty freaking cool. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. That is it for this one. I'll see you on the next one.